the show. I appreciate you tuning in for another brand new review. Don't forget, every Wednesday night at 8:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, I'm a new interview, a new opinion piece, or some horror news for you to come and check out. So what are we talking about here tonight? Folks, it is January 13th, 2025, and for the last week, I've been doing coverage for my favorite film of all time, Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. You know, I've talked about my experiences growing up with that film and the first time I got a chance to see it. I've talked about the novelization of it. I've talked about the couple of episodes of Tales from the Crypt that the stars of the film, Bill Sadler and Billy Zane, starred in as well too. So here on the 30th anniversary, I thought it would only be fitting to actually do a review of the actual movie itself. So strap in, folks. Tonight we are talking Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. Now, if you haven't seen the trailer for this one before, Demon Knight tells the story of Brayker, a man on the run from the evil collector, an evil being that will stop at nothing to get a hold of the last of the keys, an ancient relic filled with the blood of Christ, which is the only thing stopping the forces of darkness from taking over the world. When Brayker gets saddled up at a hotel, stuck with a number of other residents there, will he be able to survive the night and continue on in his mission, or will another demon knight fall to the forces of evil? There it is, folks. That is Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. Now, when I say this is my favorite movie, it is truly, truly, truly the best movie I have ever seen. I don't know if there's another movie on this planet that I've seen more than I have Demon Knight. And even with that, it's crazy to think that 30 years later, there are still things that I'm discovering about this film that I've never seen before. And I do think that is truly the mark of a really, really great movie, is that no matter how much you know about it, how much you understand it, how many times you've watched it over the years, you can still pick up new meaning from it anytime that you sit down and check it out. So, one of the biggest things that really stands out to me 30 years later about this film is the fact that it does actually work in ways as this great adventure epic as well. Kind of in the vein of something like The Mummy. I mean, you take the idea of these dark forces are looking for this ancient relic that's filled with the actual blood of Christ. Like, you bring in Jesus to all this mysticism there, and somehow that just like brings it to like an elite level, right? Because you're taking this grand old being and suddenly he's involved with all these crazy kooky beings and shit. Like, there's something about that that adds a sense of legitimacy to it. But again, like, this ancient relic that the forces of darkness need to get their hands on, and this person who is literally a knight, like, that is their role, is they are the demon knight that's going to be on the run their entire lives trying to protect it until the one night when everything matches up, everything comes together in the perfect like sync around the universe. You're called upon to fight, and this will be your last night on the earth before you pass your duty on to someone else. Like, that alone screams this gigantic adventure epic. And it really does think that Demon Knight really never got a true follow-up, no matter the fact that I do enjoy the film Bordello of Blood and the fact they do continue on with the key. I do wish, given the rich mythology that Demon Knight had set up, that this is something that we got to like look into a little bit more, and especially in this day and age, to where we'd likely get like an anthology series, which, funny enough, coming from Tales from the Crypt, but we could possibly get an anthology series following each separate Demon Knight and their various runs and battles over the years. Other things that I've been noticing about this film years and years later is how similar it is to a number of other classics out from the 70s and 80s, including like Highlander and specifically John Carpenter's films Assault on Precinct 13 and The Thing. Demon Knight is very much this siege film to where all these individuals end up in this hotel and all these demons are trying to get in to kill them all. Now, they all want their hands on Brayker and the key that Brayker is holding, but ultimately they're all going to be killed one way or the other. And so it very much screams Assault on Precinct 13. But not only that, the whole idea of bringing the Thing into it is that the demons are also able to convert people over to their side, in which they become demons as well. And then it's a case of who's real and who's not, and trying to find out which one of them is the Thing. Like, there's very much some influences coming from a couple of John Carpenter's classics here for sure. But Demon Knight, amongst all those other things, is a tremendous horror film. I love the fact that Demon Knight never forgets its Tales from the Crypt roots, and the fact that technically it is a comic book movie. There's a number of scenes in the film that sets up characters like Brayker or Deputy Bob or Sheriff Martell in front of like these pane glass windows that very much look like comic panels. They do that like with Roach and Cordelia and Wally at certain points as well too. And like, to me, that seems very, very much on purpose that they set it up that way, because we have scenes later on in the film that also pull directly from a comic when folks are getting attacked and killed too. So I love the fact that this movie is able to remind you it's a comic book movie, but at the same time, it doesn't really have to beat that over your head with like these more and more like insane circumstances, because it already is a fairly crazy situation like for these characters to be in. Now, the makeup effects here for this, done by Todd Masters and the Masters FX team, so great. You know, you can read the stories here that actually Heather Wixon, who I interviewed a year or so ago now, actually got a chance to interview Todd Masters for the 25th anniversary of the film, and talked about how, you know, initially, if you go back and look into the genesis of this film, the demons that we see in it weren't actually going to be the demons that came out on film. That for a while, they were going to be, you know, these guys in suits. And Todd Masters, who did the FX, kind of likened it to the Blues Brothers, to where they're in these dark suits with these hats and these sunglasses and the ties. And, you know, you'll see like the hellfire in their eyes, but outside of that, there's nothing else really demonic about them. Like, it's more so supposed to be an analogy for, you know, living as a demon. And they ultimately went to what we got in the film, thankfully, but that they are working very much on a limited budget and limited time, and didn't have as many demons as it seems like there were. So if you go back, a lot of these shots that Ernest Dickerson and his team are able to get, they're working very, very like contained in these shots here to not show the limitations of what they could do in the short amount of time. And they really did make a lot of magic here. You know, the sound effects of them, I never found like a tiger growl so scary. It might be a lion growl, but I never found all these growls as scary as I did before I had seen Demon Knight. The acting. Bill Sadler and Jada Pinkett Smith make for the perfect pair of heroes here in Demon Knight, as this aging knight is passing on his mantle to the new young upstarter that's going to have to carry out her own life throughout this. And there's something incredibly powerful about this black woman being the sole survivor, the one who now has the fate of the entire world on her back. And it brings up an important fact about the film that, you know, at one time, Pet Sematary director Mary Lambert was actually attached to the project, and she had talked about how when she was a part of it, like, the idea was maybe that Brayker was going to be black, and there was this whole idea that the folks who kind of crafted this world, crafted the United States, the ones who put all this work onto their backs, were really going to be the ones who are now being oppressed by evil, oppressed by the demons. And I thought that was such a strong, like, hearing about that, that would be such a strong storyline to go down. And that's not lost on me, that some of that still exists in the idea of Geraldine being this sole survivor and the one to walk away from it all. And now she's tasked with protecting everybody. And the fact that she's this criminal that's on work release and still having to put forward all of her goodness in order to save the earth. Again, some very on the nose thinking with all of this here. This movie is bloody. It is gory. There are some crazy deaths in this one for sure, but it's also a lot of fun. You know, I love those films that have chase sequences that get the adrenaline going and get you very, very much in that high tense like way of watching, to where you're nervous for whatever's coming around the corner. Demon Knight does an excellent job with that. It's also incredibly funny as well too. So if you're looking for a film that allows you to kind of break up that tension here and there by throwing in some actual decent jokes, they for sure got you covered on this one as well too. Check it out, as Demon Knight and Bordello of Blood are really the only easy ways to watch what was the great phenom known as Tales from the Crypt these days, as it's so hard to catch any of the TV show on streaming and get a good affordable price for the show that's out on DVD right now as well. But Demon Knight and Bordello of Blood, you have the ability to rent and purchase on most platforms as we speak right now. So go check it out for yourself and let me know in the comment section your memories of this fantastic film over the last 30 years. Folks, it has been an absolute pleasure covering this movie, my absolute favorite for the last week. I do truly hope you'll go back and check out the previous content that I put out for it. The easiest way to see all of that is to get subscribed to my link tree. And you can do that by going to linktr.ee/T Scary Movie. If you get subscribed to my link tree, that's going to give you access to the YouTube page, the video versions of the show, to your favorite podcasting platforms for the audio-only versions of the show, to my Letterboxd page for my written reviews and movie rankings throughout the year, to my TikTok page for my short horror content, including movie news and movie premieres, to my Twitch page for horror gaming, including The Thing Remastered and Phasmophobia, and my Fangoria shop page. You're going to enjoy a 20% discount off anything in the Fangoria shop. Take advantage of that, folks. Hit that subscribe button, and like I said, hit me in the comment section where I'm always happy to talk some awesome horror with all of you. That is going to do it for me tonight, folks. Please go and enjoy watching Demon Knight here on its 30th anniversary. My name is T. We've been talking scary movies. Stay scared.